We have the women's section. Most of the stories out of the women's section come from the Indian subcontinent this week. Not all, but most. In one of them, a 50-year-old Muslim man faked an identity as a Hindu on Facebook and introduced himself as a Hindu man half his age, and made the acquaintance of a young Hindu girl whom he met with and molested. Where might he have gotten the idea that molesting a very young girl would be something that would be desirable for him to do?
Stuff like that's kind of all over the place in the Muslim sources about, you know, capturing non-Muslim women and girls, and then of course you don't have any age requirements because your prophet thought of a 9-year-old as perfect target. So yeah, it's all over the place.
Indeed.
It's interesting how you've got all these ideas in the Muslim sources, and they all kind of tie together into some horrifying things, right? So you have like Muhammad saying that it's okay to lie to your enemies in order to get an advantage over them and so on. And then you've got it saying that, you can take women and girls as your captives, you can rape your female captives and so on. You get the ideas that, you don't need to be talking about grown women here. It could be girls and so on. You and then you see you see how all these things come together and actually the fruit that they bear in the world. And it's like the rape gangs and it's like, my goodness, it's like, guys, ideas have consequences, and the people who actually want to deal with these ideas and refute these ideas are treated as the most evil people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And all the people who won't allow us to criticize these ideas, who are thus defending them from criticism and thus ensuring that the problems continue, they're the ones patting themselves on the back as the heroes of humanity.
Indeed. Also in India, this woman, Ira Khan, who is the daughter of an actor, Amir Khan, she got engaged to a Hindu man, Nupur Shikari. And one of the people responding said that she will soon face the wrath of Allah. Why do you think people are upset at the happy news of this woman's engagement to her Hindu boyfriend?
Yeah, that is confusing because, Islam says that a Muslim man can marry a Christian or Jewish woman. And since we all know that Islam advocates complete equality between men and women, then obviously Muslim women are going to be allowed to marry non-Muslim men, even four of them, since Islam is, completely equal in its treatment of men and women. So I have no idea, man. I can't figure it out. So it's another mystery.
Yes, indeed. Uh, in any case, there's more. There's always more. Bangladesh. We have a case of a man named Abu Bakr, and he's married, but he ends up getting involved with a Hindu woman named Kavita Rani, perhaps wanted to make her one of his other wives, but she did not know that he was already married. When she found out, she was, let's say, less than happy. And what do you think Abu Bakr did when he found her angry that she had discovered that he was already married?
I mean, plenty of options here. He could beat her,
He
rape
could
her,
beat her.
kill her,
He
kill her,
escalated it a
all
little
kinds of
bit.
things.
Yes,
Yeah.
how do you think he killed her?
I don't know, slitting her throat, chopping her head off, something like that.
That is correct. Once again, I tell you, you were still batting 1,000. Really. It's amazing. In India, also, there was a terrible story of Aftab Amin Poonawalla, who also murdered his Hindu girlfriend, Shraddha Walkar, cut her body into pieces, distributed it around the city of Delhi. As it turned out, he was killing her because she had said, really, we ought to get married. And he did not want to get married. And given 434, the chapter 4, verse 34 of the Quran, saying, you beat a woman from whom you fear disobedience, he apparently thought that his actions were justified in going even farther than that. It's interesting to note that he was a vocal advocate for various leftist causes. He was a very good example of the leftist Islamic alliance, and had done a lot of posting about various leftist causes on social media. But as it turned out, he was a pretty hardline Islamic believer. In Austria, another grateful refugee forced his wife to wear the hijab, and she didn't want to wear the hijab. So he stabbed her 11 times. And he's on trial now, and he said, I just wanted to scare her. Because he's on trial for attempted murder, and he says, hey, you don't want to kill her.
Yeah, 11 times, that'll do it.
Yeah, that'll scare her, certainly.
You want to scare someone, just go ahead and stab them 11 times. That'll do the trick.
They'll be plenty scared. But in any case, he did say he did not want to kill her. And this is important because there are many people who don't like when these kinds of stories are reported, and they will maintain, well, you know, Islam does not say you can kill your wife. That's right. Islam does not say you can kill your wife. Islam says you can beat your wife. And the problem is, even if you believe the people who say, oh, you can only beat her lightly, lightly is a subjective judgment. And so you end up with people understanding it in ways that end up treating the woman not all that lightly after all.
Yeah, and it's also important to keep in mind that lightly, the light beating versus the heavy beating is not. It's not the same distinction that we would think of when we think of beating someone lightly. The light beating was something that didn't do permanent damage, like breaking bones or something like that. I mean, didn't do long-term permanent damage, like leaving scars and so on. Mm-hmm. You could still beat a woman until her skin turned green, so covered in bruises. That was totally acceptable, to beat a woman until her skin turned green.
It was probably a light green, and so it's lightly.
Yeah, light green. Beat her till her skin turns light green.
Yes.
But again, it's also with the, you know, beating your rebellious wife. It's a lot of these guys, I'm sure, are thinking once they get to a point, it's if they put their wives into an apostate category, like you are so rebellious, you are actually no longer a Muslim, then I'm going to treat you like an apostate.
That's it.